listening to the seventh inning stretch right here on VSN. Now to your hosts, Logan Stone and Josh Edwards.
Well, kind of. Logan Stone has failed to join us this evening, so I will be your main host. My name is Josh Edwards, and I'll be joined by Darren from Fat Boy Fadeaway and Ryan from BSing Sports. Gentlemen, I hope you've had a wonderful week. How y'all doing?
Been going good, Josh. I just feel like you here alone. We've classed it up just a little bit more as you the host. So I'm honored to have you as the host this week. Thank you for hosting seventh inning stretch. It's just I feel lightened right now. I feel better. I feel more energized. It's good to have Ryan on too. I love Ryan. Followed him on the Twitter account. He's been all over baseball stuff. So I'm looking forward to getting this with you guys.
Yeah, I guess that's the perk to being a full-time student out of work right now is that I get all the immediate, updates and I'm the first one to respond. But good is not the word from Phillies Nation here that would describe how we're doing this week. It's definitely better than good. But hey, I wish I could say I was here to see your beautiful face, Josh, but you just have some generic logo, which makes me sad.
Well, I apologize for that. Hopefully my technical difficulties will be resolved here soon. Logan's supposed to be sending me a new computer because mine crashed. So that's why I'm mobile and you guys just get my screen face today. I don't even know if you guys can see it. I can see it on my end. But definitely I'm sure Ryan's got the most to be happy about and proud of and excited for. Let's hope the Phillies don't burn down and let us all down with the excitement we're anticipating this next season. Darren's going to have plenty of hot takes for us, I'm sure. And I'll have some things to complain about like Logan would. And on Logan's behalf, I'll have something positive to say somewhere here and there. So, guys, winter meetings, we're going to do a wrap-up right now. Who wants to go first? And what's your biggest signing, biggest disappointment, and what are you looking forward to most going into the next season?
I think we got to let the star of the show go, Ryan. You got to go.
Yeah. So I'll take the lead. Thank you. First off, the Phillies. I mean, I'm gonna say they get one of the best grades at winter meetings, if not the best grade. I'll let outside opinions determine the difference between that. But I mean, Trea Turner at $27 million a year is for the next 11 years is a steal. In my opinion, I think that he's going to provide such an impact at the top of the lineup. And thank God I don't have to see Rhys Hoskins bat in the 2-hole anymore for the rest of my life, like at all ever again. That's the best part about this signing is I will not have to see Rhys Hoskins bat in the 2-hole ever again. Like that just resonates, rolls right off the tongue. He's going to be in the 7-hole, the 8-hole, somewhere down at the bottom of the lineup where he belongs. But no, Trea Turner is going to provide just dynamic middle infield duo with him and Bryson Stott for years to come. Biggest shock for me, though, was I thought Josh Bell was going to take advantage of the fact that he had a much better season, than a lot of people anticipated. And he really didn't cash in the way that I thought he would, only on a 2-year deal. So I thought for sure that he was going to sign some kind of long-term contract somewhere. But I guess because he chose the Guardians and they're not really known for doing stuff like that, that's kind of how that unfolded. But
it's funny you said that about the Turner deal because we were talking before with him when we were doing the preview of it, and when we did that, it was like, okay, who's going to go first, Turner or Judge, right? I think we all both agreed Turner was, and when I did that, you guys were so confident Turner was going to go there. I was like, man, they must know something that like they are hearing stuff like, and it just seemed like he wanted to go to the East Coast, like you said, and because I think the Padres offered him more money. I believe that's what the report was.
It was more money. It was $341, but with California taxes, he'd have made less off of that deal. So, Turner came out and said that he wanted to play out east. And Bryce Harper, a guy that you signed a massive contract to, so you kind of allude to the wants and needs of him, comes out and says that Trea Turner's his favorite player in the MLB. You can connect the dots at that point. So Bryce Harper, assistant GM of the Philadelphia Phillies, strikes again after landing JT Realmuto and now Trea Turner and Taijuan Walker.
I thought because I want to ask you, do you think I saw that there were some mock lineups where they would have Schwarber batting 1. Do you think he would bat? Turner would go to 1? I just would think he would, but maybe I'm wrong about that because of Schwarber's on base percentage at 1.
At full strength, it'll probably be Schwarber 1, Turner 2, Harper 3, just to get lefty, righty, lefty.
Yeah.
But I mean, until the All-Star game when Harper comes back, it's I could see it going either way. I do think ultimately Schwarber stays in the 1 spot. One of his conditions for coming to Philadelphia was that he bat in the leadoff spot. He's comfortable there. He likes being there, and he's not a bad leadoff hitter. He sees a lot of pitches. He draws a ton of walks. So I mean, you could flip flop them though. The I guess diversity you have with those two is it just provides a great asset. There's nothing bad about this signing. I mean, a lot of Phillies fans are out here because they're Philadelphia fans. They have like 3 brain cells. None of them operate at the same time. They're like 11 years for a 30-year-old guy who relies on his speed. Who cares about 11 years from now? This is a team that just made the World Series, and they were, a couple pieces short that they just went out and got. Like we're talking about trying to win now. Too much can happen in between now and 11 years. He could retire, 6 years into the contract. Like, just don't worry about 11 years from now.
And Turner's not just any player. I mean, he's a beast. So, like, if you're getting like the elite top of the lineup guy, I just think that's a great deal. The 2 deals I had that were a little like just talking about was Judge, obviously for me going to the going back to the Yankees was just the whole thing out here in the Bay Area was, you guys, with John Heyman, when he tweeted that, I swear I had guys texting me right away like, we got him. And
Arson Judge, baby.
It was so hilarious. Just that thing. That was good too, by the way. I just thought that was so funny. The Judge thing with the Yankees and like just that mystique of that franchise is like the Giants again. They just can't close a deal. It's a big thing out here with them. They had the Harper chance. They had the Stanton chance. Now they had, like they missed out on a lot of big free agents. And then you mentioned Bell. I thought that was a good signing for the Guardians for that cheaper price. I was like, I'm surprised he didn't get more. But the one to me that is Bogart's 11 years. I mean, don't get me wrong, an unreal player, and I agree with what you say to a certain extent. But man, he's gonna be 42 at the end of the deal, and like I don't know, that's just kind of blew my mind. At the end of the day, was like how big a contracts these owners are giving out to baseball players.
The other tie to the Bogarts thing is, what are you doing with Tatis? I mean, you signed Bogarts to be the shortstop. Like, what are you doing with? You have a DH spot, but obviously this guy's a problem in your locker room, and obviously he's lost all the respect of his teammates. What are you doing with him? Who's going to take him? Especially because you already signed him to a massive contract too.
They've been trying him at outfield, don't they? Right before he got hurt. That's what I thought. So my guess is that's where they'll try to get him back out. But like you're right. To me, it's a massive trade chip for them if he doesn't shape up at the very beginning. It's like, hey, we got Bogarts, but Machado's a free agent, right? Or he can option out. Is that's what I read?
At the end next season the Padres have Machado coming off. I know Snell and Darvish are off, and I think they have one more starter that comes off the books next year too.
Yeah, so that to me like kind of will change things too with them. Like that's a lot of change possibility happening right there too. I'm surprised they didn't go. And it's funny with them too because they made the biggest offer for Judge. Again, tax. I get all that too, but it's just funny that it's like, where the heck did they get all this money from, the Padres?
Yeah, the Padres with the Bogart signing might have saved themselves the biggest loser tag of winter meetings, but they definitely still lost winter meetings. I mean, to miss out on Judge and Turner and have to quote unquote settle for Bogarts. The other shocking thing was that all these dudes signed in winter meetings. I mean, if you look at the most recent free agency periods, you look at Harper, who signed in spring training. You look at like a lot of your top tier free agents, they were waiting out to see if they could get max dollars. And with how deep the shortstop market was, I thought for sure when Turner signed for $27 a year, I was like, the next shortstop that signs is getting 30. I was like, it's going to happen. The shortstops were waiting around for one person to sign, and then they were going to start doing, well, I'm this more than him, and they were going to start doing all kinds of stuff. So I was kind of surprised that, half the big name shortstops and Judge all signed so early in the offseason.
Definitely a lot different than it was before. It was funny because we're obviously Logan was going to come up. We were going to do this, Josh, and like I'm just curious, like, what do you think about the Cardinals? Like, I always thought Logan when he said Trea Turner, I just thought that was so far fetched out of the way that you guys do business as a franchise. I mean, what do you think about what the Cardinals they missed out? I mean, I know there's that Swanson and Correa still out there. What do you think about the Cardinals with the shortstop spot?
So the whole thought that St. Louis got hyped up about Turner was because Greg Amsinger on MLB Network said that he was coming. And, everybody got really excited. I think a lot of us who understand how ownership in St. Louis works knew that it was a long shot, but, when Amzinger says it, you gotta listen a little bit. I never really bought into it on a personal note. I was hopeful that with Arenado uh, not opting out, he had that conversation with Mo and DeWitt and Marval that, hey, if I want to stay, you guys are going to spend money. I want to win World Series, da da da. So I thought maybe there was a little bit of push there with the season that Goldie had last year. I thought, you know what, there's a chance it could happen. They might go spend money. But I mean, in the back of my mind, I never really bought into Trea Turner coming to St. Louis. I thought it'd been nice. It definitely would have helped Logan say more nice things about the Cardinals. But now he's going to be a Phillies fan for the next 11 years, and he'll own a Phillies Turner jersey, and it'll be what it is. And I don't want Dansby Swanson. I mean, that's just a dude who I don't think he's gonna. I think it'll be a bad contract. I think a year into it, St. Louis fans will be super bad if they sign Swanson, which I don't think it's in the cards now because there's not enough money there with the Contreras signing. So don't get me started with that side.
I was going to ask about that.
We'll get there. I'm sure we will. But I don't know. I'm kind of hoping they can find a way to go get Jose Iglesias now. To me, that's he's what I would consider a tier 2 shortstop. Maybe we can get him on a deal if Arenado and Goldie go talk to him. Maybe we can just a 1-year prove a deal or 1 year come see what you think of the place and see if you like playing here or deal. But when it comes to shortstop, I doubt the Cardinals do anything. I bet they move Edman over and they play Donovan at second. But that's how I feel about it. I mean,
Yeah.
It's a lost cause in my opinion. The Cardinals are going to win the division and get bounced in the first round again.
How do you feel about that, Wilson? Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, how do you feel about that Wilson Contreras signing? I mean, it's $17.5 million a year, I guess, for the top catcher on the market. It's not really that bad of a deal when you look at the fact that Real Muto gets 23.5.
So I have to look at this on a personal note. I have to look at it from two different spectrums or two different sides of the spectrum. As a Cardinals fan, I absolutely hate it. He's a Cub. He's always been a Cub. As of late, Cub players coming to St. Louis don't work out. They tend to burn out, and they're a waste of money. I don't like Contreras. Also, as a Cardinals fan, this is probably the only bright spot as a Cardinals fan. Contreras had Yachty's respect. So that softens the blow slightly for me. From an analyst point of view on the spectrum, yeah, it's not a bad deal. Do I like the term on it? Absolutely not. I think 5 years is way too long for a guy who probably won't even be behind the plate 90 to 100 games a year. I think that's what makes me the most mad. I would have been happy to deal for Sean Murphy, but after seeing what the A's wanted for Sean Murphy, I understand why Mo didn't, because I really don't want to give up Donovan and Newbar. I had no problem giving up Gorman. I had no problem giving up Burleson. Basically, as long as prospect-wise it wasn't Walker or Wynn, I would have given up basically any prospects or any combination of prospects we were needed to give up. And as long as it wasn't Donovan or Newbar, I was okay giving up any of our young MLB players. So, I see why they didn't do it.
A's are cracked out right now. I hate to keep going back to the Philly guy, but JT Realmuto is kind of the most recent big time catcher trade and then extension to look at. And the Phillies only gave up one top prospect and then another guy that's never going to make it to the major leagues pretty much. So for the A's to be asking for all that for Sean Murphy, who is a good catcher, but not anywhere near what Realmuto was coveted at the time that he was, available on the trade market is insane. So I can't imagine that he leaves Oakland until they come down on that price.
No, I completely agree with you. Even their GM came out and said, we may trade him, we may not. We can keep him for the next 18 months. So as soon as I heard that, I was kind of like, all right, screw it. I honestly would have been more thrilled if we would have gone after Alejandro Kirk or Moreno out of Toronto. But with Contreras, we can keep him for 2 years. When Ivan is ready to go, Herrera, excuse me, I'm sorry. I am battling a sinus infection for anybody listening right now, so I sound off and having trouble breathing. When Ivan Herrera is ready to go, we can trade Contreras for whatever we need to trade him for, especially if he's not working out. Now, if Contreras comes out and he hits, I'm still a component batting average. If he hits 275 with 100 OPS or plus OPS and 125 OPS plus, and he's playing good defensively and he's not causing havoc within the starting rotation, the bullpen, then, maybe I'll soften to it. But I don't know. I'm not impressed with Contreras. Yeah, he's got a good arm, but he doesn't handle the pitching staff well. There's a big reason why nobody wanted to make the deal with Chicago at the trade deadline last year for him. So I'm sour on it at this point. But like I said, if Mo goes out and gets somebody like Jose Iglesias, or they go get another left-handed bat, I'll keep my mouth shut and not complain too much.
I always feel like with replacing Molina, I always feel like that's where, that's what I get. Logan's on it. I always feel like he's too harsh on Molina. I just feel like he was so clutch in his career. It was like one of the, for me, just watching from afar, he was always he was there, and it was so important from a background. So I'm with you on Contreras. To me, that's kind of a flyer pick. It's the Cardinals, so I'm kind of taking it a little bit more serious. If it was another franchise, maybe a little bit different feeling towards it, but maybe they have a way of getting a little bit more out of people than some other teams. So I'm curious to see how that back to Murphy, obviously being an A's fan, that's part of the thing I was following going into it. They have 3 years of control left on him. That's part of the reason I think they're just off. That's part of the deal is with them. And he was a Gold Glove. They're using that to that advantage. I agree. He's not worth all that. I haven't seen his hitting ability, but last year he did hit so much better than I ever thought he was capable of. So I'd be curious if the A's trade him come the deadline, though. Can I ask you guys about the DeGrom and all the Verlander stuff real quick? Remember, hey, I called it DeGrom to the Rangers.
Yeah, you said that, but I mean, DeGrom didn't get no $45 million a year.
That I didn't. I was wrong. Yeah. I was wrong. But
Verlander almost ended up in the shoes you thought DeGrom was going to end up in.
I was. How much did DeGrom end up getting? It was like $2. It was like $3.
It's $37 million a year. So it was
5 years, 186, I think.
I still say if I was another team that wanted him, I would have been gone for 3 years. I would have been not afraid to go to 40. I mean, some of these other contracts, I would have took my at least with him. But I thought that contract, the Rangers, it's hard for me to ever trust them a little bit with some of their signings. Like, it doesn't necessarily result in wins. And now DeGrom going to a team like Texas, I don't know. I don't really know how I feel about that one yet. He's so good, but Texas has this history of not really producing unreal pitchers in their ballpark as well. Can DeGrom overcome that part of it? You would think because of his stuff, but I don't know. Curious to get your thought on it, Ryan.
Yeah, it makes sense. Like when the Rangers went out and signed Corey Seager a couple of years ago, it was an odd signing at the time because they gave, a young star player massive amounts of money on a team that was just going to be habitually awful if they stayed pat the rest of the time. So you kind of could have predicted that they were going to, shell some money out at this point. I don't know how I feel about giving almost 36-year-old Jacob DeGrom 5 years with his recent injury history, but it could work out. He does have the nastiest stuff in the league. As a Phillies fan, I saw it, 3 times a year, 4 times a year. So the stuff is there. I think it's worth the investment because at this point, the Rangers had to do something else.
Yeah, that's the thing too with the Rangers. They're never afraid to spend on guys like that. They're like, kind of towards the end of their.
It doesn't always work out.
Yeah, no, their history. That's why for me, it's like it's like the fact that he went there always kind of throws me off a little there. I thought Verlander to the Mets was a decent save on their part. He had still, like you said, he got $45 million. It's a shorter term deal. It's kind of interesting to me that you got Verlander and Scherzer back together. They signed the lefty from the Pittsburgh and St. Louis, Quintana. Is that who it was? Yeah. And I'm curious if they re-sign Bassett as well. If they re-sign Bassett, maybe you lost DeGrom, but Verlander's not the worst get as your backup there. So I don't know.
No, I think they had to go get Verlander. I don't think they had a choice. I think their fans would have roasted them for losing DeGrom and not going and getting somebody of Verlander's caliber. I mean, we have to be honest with ourselves in this, and then I hate to say this, but we may be looking at a Tom Brady situation with Verlander. He may give you 3 or 4 more really good years pitching. Even though he's going to lose velocity, he still can place the ball where he wants it. He's got sick stuff still. And that Tommy John surgery he had may extend his career, which is not common, but it could happen. I mean, we could literally see a Tom Brady situation in baseball with Justin Verlander.
It's possible. I mean, there's no signs of aging with the 1.75 ERA he just had, an AL Cy Young award at 40 years old.
Right. So,
what's going to happen
that's
if
my biggest thing.
You talked about it earlier, Josh. I don't know if we were live or not, but the Mets payroll is going to be close to $400 million, which is obviously going to be an astronomical record. What if the Mets don't win the World Series? Like they have to like win a playoff series at this point. Like there's no way that they can't. What if you're Steve Cohen and you just look around and like you spend $400 million to lose in the first round of the playoffs again?
So Steve Cohen came out and said that his goal when he took over the team was to win a World Series within 5 years. This is year 3. He is going all in, and he is doing everything he thinks is right to put a winning team together. I don't care how much money you spend on a team, frankly. I don't care if your payroll is $150 million or $400 million. If there's not chemistry and the guys don't get along in the locker room, it ain't going to freaking matter anyways. You can win 100 games, but when the playoffs come down, your back's against the wall. If there's no team chemistry there, you're not going to finish the job. I think, because I'm not a big New York fan on a personal level, I think it would be hilarious if they get bounced in the first round. But I see this team on paper, there's no way they don't go to the NL Pennant game. And if they don't make it to the World Series, New York fans may be calling for his head. For wasting all the money and not getting things done. I mean, if Scherzer's hurt all season again this year, if Verlander somehow gets hurt and his career ends, I mean, you have so much money tied up in those 2 players alone. You just blew apart your rotation. Like, there's no way they're going to succeed and continue on. Not to mention, they just overpaid Brandon Nimmo within the last 2 hours, an 8-year, $162 million deal with an NTC. He got a no trade clause in his contract. Dude.
Oh my God!
Like, what are GMs doing right now? I have no freaking idea. The economy, and not to be like the whole world view here, but let's be real. With the prices that players or with the money players getting to get paid in these upcoming years, the economy is not getting any better. People are not going to be able to go to games and buy as much food and as much beer and pay for parking and buy all the extra jerseys and those T-shirts and the hats and everything like they could in the past. Where are owners coming up with this money? I just don't know. And eventually it's going to hit a wall and there's going to be a cap. Or not a cap, but there's going to be a ceiling that gets hit at some point. And only the big market teams are going to be able to compete. You're going to literally push out anybody who's in the smaller mid-sized market teams.
That's the downside to the no hard salary cap.
I just can never see a world where the players' union agrees to it. It's just
no way.
We do it. They got the best. They got the best deal out of all the athletes. Why would they give that up? Well, there's just no right. I just can't. I mean, look at you got guys like you said, Brandon Nimmo making how much a year? I mean, I'm not trying to rip. It's just hard to believe that he. You know what I mean? It's just come a long ways. Like because the Judge thing, it made me think about the Bond signing, which was 25 years ago. He got the highest contract at the time in 1992. 6 years, like $42.5 million. It's like, well, inflation's got up a bit. Judge made that in one season. It's just crazy.
Yeah, Nimmo only hit 16 home runs last year. So if he does that again, he's getting paid more than $1 million per home run, which in today's MLB is just absolutely insane.
He can't be more than a one-time All-Star. Is he a two-time All-Star? He can't. I just don't think of him as like that type of player.
No, like he hit I think he hit 264 last year. His OP, he's a doubles guy. Does anybody else see a Logan?
What? What the heck is going on?
Why is it so bright in there? Are you in heaven? Did you die?
Yeah, that I'm not gonna lie, that bender I took about when Trea Turner signed with the Phillies, it led me to some weird places. I'm sorry.
We're going to welcome Logan as a guest on our show this evening. Welcome, Logan Stone, to the 7th inning stretch. It's nice for you to join us.
Yeah. Sorry about that. I've been nursing this cough, and I've been having some really bad asthma attacks, and so I'm at an apartment with my mother. It's with the venue that we own, and she decided to take my phone, and my alarm went off, and she was like, "Oh, well, Logan doesn't need it," and Logan does need it, mother. Anyways, Mama knows best. I love you.
Tell your mom we said hi.
Yeah, so it's not my fault, I promise. But I did have a good nap, so I'm ready to start the show now. Let's start fresh now. Okay, let's go. No, I'm kidding. Thank you guys for covering for me while I was gone. We have 5 viewers right now, which is 5 more than we typically have. So once you remove Logan from the show, everything gets better.
Well, actually, Darren opened up with that when we started.
Okay.
All right,
Aaron
then
is
that's
fired.
our show for the evening.
Yeah,
Logan,
right?
thanks for joining us tonight.
Live well and watch some damn baseball. Take care, guys.
Live well. Shut up.
Josh, thank you. Play do it on there. We were just talking about some of the we talked on the Cardinals a little bit. You got any? Obviously, you want to get into that, right?
I don't know if you guys saw this, but Brandon Nimmo just re-signed with the Mets.
We already covered all
we've been
that.
talking
Okay,
about
missing
how
the show, man.
ridiculous.
I did hear you guys talk about Steve Cohen and how he needs to get bucked down. So I was able to listen to that while I was setting up. Yeah, it is weird. The Mets kind of like within like not even a full day started playing from behind. Like they started off the day getting Verlander, and then like the Phillies got Trea Turner, then they got they got Taiwan Walker, they got a couple other smaller pieces, right? Or am I
They
just
signed the other one was Matt Strahm.
yeah, and I mean they've just been playing from behind, and it's just weird to me. How they kind of let a couple of players slip through. They're not in the shortstop market, which I doubt they will be in. They really aren't in the pitching market. They got Verlander and they got Quintana. I was surprised they didn't go after Rodon. Is there a reason why Rodon hasn't been signed?
Hasn't worked a deal with the Yankees yet.
Darren, you're muted.
Yeah.
I said, who's the agent for him? Isn't it the big boy?
Is it
Boris?
Scott Boris.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I want to talk about real quick is are we surprised by how little money Trea Turner signed for and how little money Aaron Judge signed for?
I think Judge's was pretty good. Like, in all honesty, just based on the outfield market. I mean, Trout makes 36.5 million a year, I think. So I think 40 million is probably about market pace. I was a little shocked that Turner went for less than 30, but that's just kind of it. You know, he wanted to be a Philly, it sounds like. So
Yeah, he was itching for that. And
Hold on, somebody else is here now. Somebody else is late to the party.
no, he was supposed to be late.
Oh.
Hey!
What's
leave
up,
me alone
dude?
right now. Hey, I can say this: my GM is better than Joe Biden. We didn't trade a little woman basketball player for an arms dealer. And if that offends you, you're a pussy. I'm sorry.
Logan, if you need filled in, I'll fill you in after the show.
Oh, of course you're gonna fill me in later, Josh.
We
Oh
just had a
man.
conversation about this
no,
topic.
he made the joke. You might as well tell him what happened.
Oh God.
So Biden traded a mass arms dealer for Brittany Griner and left a Marine in Russian prison. Now, in
He
all
was
clarity,
nicknamed the Merchant of Death.
yes, the Merchant of Death. The Marine that he left in Russian prison and didn't put in the deal was dishonorably discharged and was picked up on espionage charges. But still, he gave away a guy who wants to kill Americans and back to Russia.
Well, I'm glad I spent my time on a bender and not following
Hey,
politics.
we got NBA basketball player.
Oh, it's not here, Tyler.
Uh-oh.
I got him. Good.
Tyler died on us.
He might have died.
He froze.
Anyways. Oh.
He'll be back.
Tyler's like 6 hours north. We live in the Bay Area. He for some work he went like all the way up to like close to Oregon, like all the way up there. So he's in some like
Yeah, why am I
Timbuktu areas.
muted?
You're not muted.
No.
I think we got to lose him.
Oh,
I wish that would have been a better reaction. Like, yo, why the fuck am I fucking muted? Like, yeah, and he's not muted. You know, he's just going on this tangent and he's not actually muted.
I'm gone for 30 minutes, and all of a sudden we're talking about Joe Biden and Brittany Griner. And, you know, this is exactly what I expect whenever I.
That was totally
I
Tyler.
Was it? Oh, I thought it was Josh. I was like, Josh, you motherfucker.
No.
Anyways, I love Joe Biden. Anyways, I don't even know what we need to.
I kind of wanted to talk about some of the guys that were still out there.
I want to bless you, Logan, into Phillies fandom. So,
yeah.
We need
Listen,
to.
they signed Taijuan Walker, who I've been trying to get to go to the Cardinals for 3 years now, who I think is a very underrated pitcher. And they signed Trea Turner, who, you know, he's cool, whatever. No, I'm kidding.
Don't lie. You already ordered your jersey.
Oh, I was like, I'm gonna kill Trea Turner or John Mozeliak, and then they were like, well, no matter what, Trea Turner was signing with the Phillies. Have you guys talked about Bogarts yet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. We covered all the big ones.
And I don't know if you talked about it, so if you have, then just shut me up and I'll move on to another question. Were you guys surprised? Did it feel like it wasn't really a negotiation, like it was more of the Padres were just desperate to get a player, and they just met with Xander and said, whatever you want, we'll give it to you, and that's it? Because 11 years is a lot of money to be given to, or a lot of years to be given to a player. Like signing someone until he's 41 when he's, you know, he's good, but he's not.
Can I ask
the
a question real quick?
Yeah.
I am unaware. Who is the Padres' second baseman?
It's Jake Cronenworth, but he's going to be moving to first. And they say
so. Cronenworth's going to first. Bogarts will go to second because that was already the plan because he's getting old. Fernando Tatis will stay short.
Well, no, because that's what I was saying is like Han Sung Kim, I think, is going to play second, and he's going to or Bogarts is going to play short. And they were saying that Tatis is going to play left field. And I was like, well, okay. I mean, I guess that's much more safe than having him play center field because there's going to be a lot of in the park home runs if you let Tatis play center. But anyways, that just shocked me. It seemed like the Padres were just desperate to go out and get a player, and by any means necessary, and it just came out of left field. Maybe I'm wrong.
I agree with you because they missed out on Judge, they missed out on Turner. I think that that they kind of reached a little bit for whoever they could get.
Which, I mean, if you're going to reach for whoever you can get, Xander Bogaerts isn't a bad guy to reach for.
Yeah, no.
The contract may not be pretty, but the players, he's a hell of a player.
Yeah. But Darren, you wanted to talk about the free agents that are still left?
Well, I just thought that we hadn't got that. I just thought Correa was such an interesting piece still out there, and I heard like some stuff today that like some people GMs were saying that he might be or some reporters were saying he might be the best offensive player, not just left, but he was the best player available in free agency. I don't buy that. And then I do think, and the thing with him is like I feel like he's going to try to play for that Turner contract, but I just don't think a team's going to give it to him like that. I think he's going to get more of the 3-year massive deal. I know the Giants, like I'm serious, like their fan base is pissed. Like it's not something that's just like a little bit ready to go. Like, they're unhappy about it because they usually, for the most part, before last year, have sold out the ballpark. Their GM has really not done that much in terms of acquiring people. He's done a good job with these like C-level players to get the most out of them, like maybe on short-term deals, but like they get Mitch Haniger, and like to me that's an A's signing. Like that's not a Giants signing. If you're a real team, that's not like That's not a real championship contending team. And like, to me, I'm just curious what the Giants do with Correa. Like, they have to do something. Their fan base will revolt.
Tyler,
Sounds like I
you're a
came back
Giants
at the
fan.
perfect timing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
He teed that right off for you.
Let me get into this first. I'm not a big Judge guy, but the Giants need a superstar. It's embarrassing that they come in second place in everybody who comes available. Soto, they could have got if they were willing to give up the right assets, which I don't mind. That one didn't hurt me. The Bryce Harper at 27 years old, give him what he fucking wants. His team makes money hands over fist. And to give nobody anything, and then we let Judge, obviously I don't blame him for leaving the Yankees. You want to be put on that wall. It's easier to be a Yankee for the rest of your career. Because the Giants, if he hit 45 home runs the next year, people would be like, oh, he didn't do what he did in New York, which he wasn't going to do again. It just was a spectacular season. But the Giants just need to bring somebody in to bring them to this ballpark. It's the best ballpark in the stadium within a square mile of it. But if you go outside that square mile, it's a fucking disaster. You look at I did a job in San Francisco. There were people doing meth by my work truck, just hiding behind my work truck. It's a terrible city. It's disheartening. I don't know where I'm at. I'm very frustrated. They don't ever bring anybody in who's worth a damn. They bring in Mitch Haniger. But then you see Brandon Nimmo getting 8 years, $162 million. You go, yeah, he's not worth that.
Yeah.
You're an idiot to pay somebody like that $162 million. So I get it. I'm frustrated. They haven't brought anybody in since Darren posted a Barry Bonds Twitter post trolling Giants fans, clearly. And I'm like, fuck you. This is it's just frustrating being a Giants fan. We haven't, our three hitters, Wilmer Flores. I'm at a loss. I love the Giants. I always will, but I don't know what to do. I wish we offered Turner 360.
Yeah, do that.
Can we talk about how Logan showed up late and the first thing he did was shit on the Nimmo contract, and then Tyler in his rant somehow also found a way to shit on the first thing people are talking about is what the fuck were the Mets doing?
I definitely wasn't shitting on it.
I'm shitting on it.
I'm shitting
on it. No, I honestly I saw he re-signed with the Mets and I didn't see how long, and I saw 162 million and I thought, okay. That's interesting. And then that was about it. So I wanted to see if you guys saw that. But honestly, kind of in a mixture of Tyler's point and what Darren has been trying to talk about is I'm surprised that Giants aren't going after Brandon Drury. He's a third baseman who can play all positions in the outfield. I think he can play second also. And I swear, he just screams Giants. He's got that versatility on him, and I would want him.
You say that because he's not a superstar, and that's Tyler's point. Is they're not getting the guys they aren't producing farm system guys. You got to do what the Phillies did at some point. You got to get a guy like Harper to make your team legit and have people actually respect you. And I think that's the issue with the Giants is we won 107 games with this lineup and Farhan getting robot guys in there.
Oh yeah, I understand. Why
are the Padres being able to get better players than us? It's the fucking Padres. They've never been better.
Because it's a better city, just like you said.
Whoa. I mean, that is true. I have seen the guy in the back of his truck cooking meth when I was in San Francisco, and if I wasn't with a friend, I would. Anyways, but it was definitely yeah, I understand it, and it was weird because that was all they wanted, and for the longest time, and I don't think it was really the Giants' fault. It seemed like
I agree
100%. They were getting Aaron Judge. There was no way that Aaron Judge was going anywhere else except for the Giants. And then at the last minute, it was just I just want to be a Yankee, and that's it. And I'll even take a little bit of a pay cut. I think, because he was offered more money by the Padres and by the Giants. And, I mean, so it's hard for me to – but it's you got to kind of move on. And I I feel like Correa would actually work well with the Giants organization. But I don't know if he's someone that
agree.
you can really build your team around.
I think
You know,
Korea.
isn't he what?
Doesn't he sound like he's going to end up on the Cubs or like some
Yeah.
big market
Probably.
that he has no chance of winning this year? He just seems like a Cub to me.
I'm
Javier
surprised
Baez,
he's not
I
an
think.
Oriole
I
yet.
just don't, the Giants will never sign
Yeah,
a
right.
player.
Orioles and Mariners were quiet. But
Yeah,
yeah,
this man trade.
Let's talk about this real quick. The Angels are on a spending spree for a franchise whose owner is selling the team. They went out and they bought in everybody, and Shohei Ohtani is the real winner of all these people getting all this money. Yeah, he's watching Aaron Judge get $40 million and Justin Verlander get 43. The floor is now set for Ohtani to get $45 million a year. That's
Oh, I bet it's closer to 50.
yeah, that's like the floor. So like he's going to break the bank, and that franchise is spending a ton of money already. So I'm just shocked that Artie Moreno's gone out and spent the money just to sell the team. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, but
It's going out swinging, I guess. Going out swinging. Going out swinging. They're weird. Like, what was it? Hunter Renfroe they got, and then who was the other guys they got? Ryan, I missed maybe some of them.
Tim Anderson, not Tim Anderson.
they got a Tyler Anderson from LA.
Yeah. Okay, so they've especially for a team selling. The A's finally did. They spent some money. I thought we were going to be the first team to spend $0 in free agency. We did sign a player, Elmas Diaz. Yes, Cardinals fans, you will remember him from his All-Star performance. We will, and he will probably be garbage for us. So, good job.
He did all right in Houston.
Yeah.
He wasn't great, but he was all
Sure,
right.
Ryan didn't mind seeing him up the bat. Sure.
It's funny. I know Aledmus Diaz because in Aaron Nola's second start in the World Series, if he hadn't come up to bat twice, it'd have been way worse of a result because he grounded into a double play with 2 on and 1 out and then flew out with 2 on and 2 out right before Aaron Nola got lit up. So, like, in my mind, Aledmus Diaz saved Nola from just getting blown up on in the second inning.
And Ryan, have you talked about the Trea Turner signing yet? Or have we talked about the Trea Turner signing?
You go fire away, Tyler.
Fucking Phillies.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating. How do you guys get Bryce Harper and Trea Turner?
Trea Turner, JT Realmuto, and Zach Wheeler
franchise.
showed up because Bryce Harper did. I'm thoroughly convinced.
Fair assumption.
But Harper said he wanted to come here. He wanted to come to Philadelphia. I guess the great fan base in Philadelphia. I don't know. I think we're kind of dickheadish sometimes, but
Sometimes.
the great fan base of Philadelphia, players wanted to come here. So Harper showed up, and then everybody else just kind of followed suit. They're like, "Hey, that guy's pretty good.
Let's go play with him."
Turner was going to be a Philly. Like he wasn't really going to go anywhere else. So
that was a big sign there.
I'm fine. He was. It seemed like even if the Padres offered him like the most money in the world, he was not going to anywhere else. So
I liked your theory on that, though. Like the fact that he probably didn't want to play with Tatis.
Well, yeah, and I should clarify, like, I don't think this was the biggest reason why Judge and Trea Turner didn't go, but I think there's a little bit in everybody's mind, like, hey, Tatis is kind of a one-man show, and the way he got yelled at by Manny Machado, who in his history is not like, his compass doesn't always point north, so, like, it's you got to be thinking like Tatis is just kind of one of those rock and roll guys who just like does drugs behind the scenes and no one wants to hang around him after a while.
Well, I hope
That's funny.
very bought. Squad.
What?
Damn computer.
Yeah, right.